الحمد لله الحمد لله الذي هدانا لهذا وما كنا لنهتدي لولا أن هدانا الله وما توفيقي ولا اعتمادي إلا على الله عليه توكلت وإليه أنيب. الحمد لله حمد الكاملين والصلاة والسلام على رسوله الكريم محمد بن عبد الله خاتم النبيين ورحمة الله للعالمين. أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. رب اشرح لي صدري ويسر لي أمري واحلل عقدة من لساني يفقهوا قولي. Dear brothers and sisters in Islam, first I want to congratulate the sister and brother who came back from Hajj. It's a blessing to have people who just came back from Hajj that are full of blessing and barakah from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And may Allah rub that barakah on us as well, inshaAllah. Today, inshaAllah, we're going to be talking about an issue, a subject, which is trusting Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And if you ask anybody, do you trust Allah? Everybody immediately is going to say, yes, I trust Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. But I would like you, after you listen to my talk, to answer that question sincerely. Run everything I'm going to say by your heart. And then answer the question, do you trust Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala? And a lot of us have a hard time trusting in general. Because sometimes we have been hurt or let down or betrayed by people we love or we care about, whether intentionally or they died, passed away, or intentionally. Somebody decide to betray you. So it's very hard for us to let go and trust Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, truly trust Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And we tend as human beings to trust what we know, what we understand. Anything we don't understand, it's very hard for us to trust. And trusting Allah as a Muslim is a must. It's not an option. As a matter of fact, the word Muslim means submit. Submit means you're trusting Allah and you're obeying everything that He's saying. That's what submit means, what Muslim means. You have to trust Allah and obey Him. And the reason we have to obey Allah without thinking is because everything that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala asks us to do has wisdom, has justice, and has mercy. Everything. Whether we understand it or we don't, it does have all those components and more. And most of the time we cannot see it. Like you lose your job, you're going to say, what is justice in that? What is the mercy in that? What is the wisdom in that? But you can't see it. But there is wisdom and justice and mercy in every decision that happens. And trusting Allah means anytime we hear an order from Allah, a command from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, we obey it. We have to remember that we as human beings, we have limits in everything. We have limit in our knowledge, we have limit in our intelligence, we have limit in our understanding, everything, we have limit. But Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, only Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala does not have limits. Nothing has a limit with Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And we should not try to explain the commands of Allah. If we can understand it, or when there is the time to understand it, then it's fine. If we don't understand it, then we cannot say, oh, that was for another time. That was for 1400 years ago. Oh, that was for other people, not us. Hey, we're Silicon Valley, you know, we have computers and all of that. The early Muslims didn't have computers, they were riding camels. So it's not for us. And if you look at the Muslim in the early Islam, when Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala revealed the verses of Salah, that we have to do Salah, it's mandatory, it's a part of Islam. The Muslim didn't sit and say, wait a minute, what is that? You just stand up, bow, prostrate, get up, and all of that. It doesn't have any logic. Why should we do those things? They didn't ask a question. They obeyed Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Immediately. No question asked. And then, like in 2010, there was a major study published. And in that study they said, the best exercise for a human being is 30 minutes a day of moderate exercise. Moderate. If you calculate the salah, you add all the salah that we do, it's 30 minutes. And it's moderate exercise. And in my mind, I have no doubt that in the future, somebody is going to discover that the motion we do are the best exercises you can do for a human being. Even when we say Assalamu alaikum, we exercise our neck. But the early Muslims didn't wait for research and study to obey Allah. They didn't say, convince me that going up and down and all of that has some logic. Convince me that it's going to benefit me. They didn't. They obey Allah. If at the time Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala wishes to show the Muslim what is the benefit, He will. Sometimes they are not ready. And it's going to be revealed 1,000 years later, maybe 2,000 years later, maybe 3,000 years later. But it should not stop us from obeying Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, because that's a part of trusting Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And the same thing happened when Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala revealed the verses prohibiting intoxicant, alcohol and all of that stuff. Literally, some of the Muslims, when they heard that, they were sitting drinking wine. Literally. And when the verses were revealed, they spit the alcohol from their mouth and stopped right away. Some of the people brought in history, they said Al-Madinah, the day that the verse was revealed, the street were flowing with wine. Everybody took their wine and spilled it in the street. They didn't sit and say, convince me that alcohol is bad for me. This is what we do today. Unfortunately, some Muslims, with their limited understanding, they think we're so smart that Allah has to convince you what's good for you, even you don't understand it. You don't understand what's the benefit. But that's a part of trusting Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. What we need as human beings and as Muslims is to stop trusting our brain more than we trust Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. We need to trust Allah without any question. Even if it's not logical to you, because it is logical, but you cannot understand it today. When we start to analyze things, sometimes things that we listen to in the Quran and listen to in the Sunnah, they don't make sense. I'll give you an example. One of the things that doesn't make sense is Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala and the Prophet alayhi salatu wasalam in a hadith, he said, charity will not decrease any wealth. Will not decrease any wealth. Logically, it doesn't make sense. I have $100 and I give away $20. I'm ending with 80. And you're telling me it's not going to decrease it? Allah said it's not going to decrease, it's not going to decrease. Allah will replenish your $20 and more. And not only in this life He's going to reward you with the money, but in the hereafter as well He will reward you. But you look at it, don't try to use everything logic. Does it make sense? It doesn't make sense to me, then I'm not going to do it. No, you do it. And if you can't understand it, alhamdulillah. If you cannot understand it, maybe we are not ready to understand what Allah wanted us to know. If you look at it, most of the sins that human beings commit, most of them are because they don't trust Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Most of them. When a person lies, he lies because he believes, if I'm going to say the truth in this situation, my only way out is to lie. Your boss is saying, why didn't you send the contract to the company so they can sign it? And if you're going to tell him, I forgot, you get fired. So the best way to say, it was, the printer was broken, or the computer, something happened, or whatever, and you lie, then you get away with it. But the Prophet ﷺ, he said, Say the truth. The truth will always save you. So even on the surface, it looks like for you that if you're going to say the truth, you may get fired, you may be in trouble, something happen, but do it. If Allah promised He's going to protect you, He will protect you. And if He's not going to protect you, nothing can protect you, not even your life. We cannot see everything in every issue. Only Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala can see all the sides. Only Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. But we seem to trust and believe only our mind. We don't have the knowledge. We cannot see all this, everything. You cannot know what's going on in the room next door. We don't know. Only Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala knows everything. And Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says in the Quran, وَعَلَى اللَّهِ فَلْيَتَوَكَّلِ الْمُؤْمِنُونَ. And in Allah, let the believers put their trust. It's an order. It's not an option, it's an order. But you notice He's saying, let the believers. So if you don't trust Allah, you are a Muslim, but not a believer. You're a lower ranked person. When you trust Allah, you're a higher Muslim, you're a believer. That's a higher rank. And Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says, وَتَوَكَّلْ عَلَى الْحَيَّ الَّذِي لَا يَمُوتُ. And put your trust in the ever-living who does not die. A lot of time we trust people. I joined the company and the director, he said he's going to take care of me, and he was giving me promotion and helping me and all of that, and he died. But if you trust Allah, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala will never die. So He's going to never let you down. You're not going to be one day standing there and say, I'm alone. I'm on my own. You always will be with Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says, وَتَوَكَّلْ عَلَى الْعَزِيزِ الرَّحِيمِ. And put your trust in the mighty, the merciful. Look at the two descriptions that He gave. He didn't say put your trust in Allah. He said on the mighty, the merciful. The mighty because He's the only one who can make anything He wants happen. Nobody can do that. Maybe the person who wants to help you has the intention. He has everything he wants to help you. But he cannot make it happen. He cannot. It's out of his control. He tried, but it's not successful. But Allah has the power to make anything happen. He has the power. And then on top of that, He's merciful. So even though you're going to Him and asking Allah, please help me, and you sinned, and you did this, and you did that, and all of the things, but He's merciful. So He's not going to tell you, when you fix all your problem, come back to me. He's not going to do that. He's merciful. He's going to say, I accept you with all your problems that you did, all the sins that you committed. I still accept you because I'm merciful. Jazakallah khair. Thank you. I'll tell you a story of a person, a couple. Those two, husband and wife, they live in the Bay Area, and they wanted to buy a house. They found the house, and they put an offer on the house, and they were very excited. It's a beautiful house. But then the offer was not accepted, it was rejected. They were disappointed, but the two said to each other, you know, if we didn't get that house, probably Allah has a wisdom in that. There is a reason. We believe whatever Allah is going to do is going to be better. A week later, they found another house, twice as big, in a better neighborhood. And they put a bid on it. They didn't think they would get it. But 3 days later, they got a call from the realtor saying, your offer was accepted. So they asked the realtor, is our offer was the highest? They said no. So they kind of shocked. So they said, how we got the house? They said, ask the owner. So they went to ask the owner. The owner and his wife, they met them. And they said, we want to understand, are we the highest bidder? They said, no, we have higher bids than you. So they said, how come we got the house? He said, we saw you, both of you, when you came, and you have your two little children. And when we saw you, My wife and I, we remembered when we bought that house, we were exactly our children your age, the age of your children. And we had a lot of happiness in that house. So we wanted that house to go to a family that will have the same happiness. We hope they have the same happiness as us. And that's why we accepted your offer. We didn't accept the higher offer. Subhanallah. They trusted Allah. And He gave them better than what they were looking for. They could have said, we were disappointed. Why, Allah, did you do that to us? They trusted Him. He gave them better. And when you trust Allah, you're trusting a powerful ally. Somebody that's going to always help you win. And the more you rely on Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, the more you get close to Allah, the more you will obey Him. And when the more you obey Him, you're not only going to be successful in this life, but in the hereafter. You're going to be successful in both this life and the hereafter. When Sayyidina Ibrahim alayhi salam, when the non-believer caught Sayyidina Ibrahim and they wanted to punish him for destroying their idols, they decided they're going to throw him in fire, a huge fire. They created a huge fire. And they invented, at the time, a machine to throw him in the middle of the fire. So they tied Sayyidina Ibrahim and he was ready to be thrown in the middle of the fire, huge fire. Sayyidina Jibreel alayhi salam came down to Sayyidina Ibrahim and he asked him, do you need anything? He asked Sayyidina Ibrahim, do you need anything? Just imagine the situation of Sayyidina Ibrahim. Look at what Sayyidina Ibrahim, who trusts Allah, his answer. He said, as from you, I don't need anything. And as from Allah, He knows my condition. And the last word he said, Hasbi Allah wa ni'mal wakeel. Allah is enough for me and the best protector. So Allah made the fire become cold to Sayyidina Ibrahim. It's not just Sayyidina Ibrahim, it's any human being. If you trust Allah, He's going to do miracles for you. Sometimes we think, oh, this is just Sayyidina Ibrahim. It doesn't apply to me or to him or to whatever. No. Allah, when He's telling us those stories, He's not telling us the stories to entertain us, to make us feel happy. He's telling us those stories to give us examples of the things that He can do for us as Muslims. So if you trust Allah, He will do miracles for you. Maybe you don't see them, but He will. He will do miracles for you, but trust Him. And Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says, وَمَنْ يَتَوَكَّلْ عَلَى اللَّهِ فَهُوَ حَسْبُهُ. And if anyone puts his trust in Allah, Allah is sufficient for him. So what Allah is saying, if you put your trust in me, don't worry about anybody else. Don't worry about anything. If the whole world tells you it cannot be done, don't worry. If the whole world tells you it's not going to work, don't worry. As long as you trust me, you don't need to worry about anything else. And the Prophet ﷺ was standing one day in front of his masjid, his mosque. And a person came on a camel. When he got to the mosque, he got off the camel, and he looked at the Prophet ﷺ and he said, should I tie my camel or trust Allah and leave it loose? The Prophet ﷺ, he answered him, he said, tie your camel and trust Allah. This is a very important hadith for us. Because what the Prophet ﷺ is telling us is, do your part and trust Allah. Don't sit back and relax and say, I'm not going to do anything, I'm trusting Allah. It doesn't work. If you really trust Allah, you have to do everything you can and then trust Allah. But if you don't do your part, you're not trusting Allah. Because Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, He puts on this earth, He put all the means for you to achieve things. And He wants you to take the first step, and then He's going to help you. But you don't sit and kick back and say, I'm trusting Allah. you're not trusting Allah, you're lazy. And if you trust Allah, then you do everything you can. In the life of the Prophet ﷺ was a pure example of that. Always, he did everything he can. And then he raised his hand to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala and asked for help. That's what we should do. A part of trusting Allah, do everything you can and then ask for help from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says, وَإِنْ يَمْسَسْكَ اللَّهُ بِضُرٍّ فَلَا كَاشِفَ لَهُ إِلَّا هُوَ وَإِنْ يَمْسَسْكَ بِخَيْرٍ فَهُوَ عَلَى كُلِّ شَيْءٍ قَدِيرٌ. And if Allah touches you with harm, none can remove it but He. And if He touches you with good, then He is able to do all things. So Allah is saying, whatever I do, I'm the only one who can do it. I'm the only one who can help you, and I'm the only one who can take away something from you. I have the power to do all those things. So always do your part and make dua to Allah and trust Allah that He's going to do it. One of the companions, his name is Ibn Abbas. In a hadith he says, one day I was riding behind the Prophet on a camel, alayhi salatu wasalam, when he said, "Oh boy, I will instruct you in some matters. Be watchful of Allah's commands, He will preserve you. Safeguard His rights, He will be ever with you. If you beg Him alone. And if you need assistance, supplicate to Allah alone for help. And remember that if all the people gather to benefit you, they will not be able to benefit you except that which Allah had predestined for you. And if all of them gather to do harm to you, they will not be able to afflict you with anything other than that which Allah had predestined for you, against you. The pens had been lifted and the ink had dried up." What this hadith is telling us is that everything is decided by Allah. No human being can do anything. And He's saying if the whole nation gather to do something good for you, they will not be able to do it. And if the whole nation gather to do something harm for you, it's not going to happen except what Allah decides. So in other words, what the Prophet is telling us, do not humiliate yourself for anything. Don't. A Muslim has to have dignity, self-respect, because nobody, whether you humiliate yourself or you don't humiliate yourself, the results are the same, except you humiliated yourself or you kept your dignity. So as Muslims, we never humiliate ourselves. It doesn't mean that we are rude, that we are impolite. No, that's not the Muslim. But the Muslim ask for things, ask for whatever they want, but with respect, without humiliating yourself. You don't let anybody humiliate you because you say, if I answer back, then he's going to fire me. You don't do that. Have dignity, because you are a Muslim, you are a servant of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, and He doesn't let you down. And there is a hadith for the Prophet alayhi salatu wasalam. He says, seek things with dignity, with self-respect. For all matters are run by divine decree, are run by Allah's orders. So never humiliate yourself. Sometimes we do things haram. Sometimes we do things haram because we don't trust Allah. So you see somebody, for sake of discussion, he has financial difficulties. So he say, I'm going to steal. Because if I steal, I'm going to be financially secure. Then I'm going to be okay. And he doesn't understand that if you steal, you're not going to be financially okay. Because you think that you were able to cheat Allah, astaghfirullah, that you thought that Allah decided you're going to get in your life $1,000 and by stealing you made them $1,500. No. Whatever you got, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, that was what you were going to get. But unfortunately, you got it from a haram way. It's the same amount, but you got it from a haram way, not a halal way. And sometimes people say, I have to do the haram because we are in the 21st century. You know, I'm going to get fired. Some people say, I went to the company party and my boss gave me some alcohol, and if I turned it down, he may say, you know, I'm not a part of the team, he may fire me, so I had to drink. There is no success in disobeying Allah. No way. No way. You think like that you pleased your boss? The next day you're going to hear like what happens in HP and all of that. The whole department is laid off. And all you ended up with, you lost your job and you lost your religion, your deen. Both. So never disobey Allah based on this is, you know, it's a different culture, different people. None of that. None of that. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, when He revealed the Quran, He revealed it for all time. It was not revealed for 14 centuries ago, and that today we need a version 2.0 of the Quran, and then in 1,000 years we need a newer version. No. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, the Quran is for all time. The reason why? Because human beings are the same all the time. The one that at the time of the Prophet ﷺ used to steal a sheep or a camel is the same one that today will steal, you know, a bank account or some stock or dividend or whatever. It's the same thing. Stealing is the same. What you steal is different. But the sin is the same. So Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, whatever revealed in the Quran and ask us in terms of behavior is always the same, even 1,000 years from now. And one of the reasons Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala tells us all the things, but most of the time we listen to shaitan. Shaitan is always waiting for you at your weakest point, and he comes and starts to whisper to you. He always knows when to choose the right time. And he comes to you and keeps telling you, oh, come on, you know, you should do this. Do you think if you tell them you're Muslim, they're going to hire you? This company? No, 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 no. Don't tell them you're Muslim. And shaitan comes to you and say, if you tell your boss, I have to leave on Friday to go to do salah, Friday salah, he's going to give your job to somebody else. He may fire you in the next round of layoffs. Shaitan always whispers to you. And most of the time, unfortunately, some people listen to shaitan and don't listen to Allah. Always trust what Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is ordering us to do. Allah is not going to let you down. He's not going to trick you. Astaghfirullah. He's not going to tell you, I'm going to protect you, and then He lets you down. And really trusting Allah has to show at your darkest moments. That's when trusting Allah shows. It's not when everything is going great, my job is wonderful, money plenty, I have a wife, I have children, everything is fantastic, and I trust Allah. No, trusting Allah, the test is when things are not going right. Are you going to trust Allah? That's really the time. I know a person that he worked for a company, and he was an executive, and he was doing well, but then they did lay off, and they laid him off. Obviously he was disappointed, unhappy, all of that, but he convinced himself that if this happened to me, that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, I didn't do anything bad. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is not going to let me down. He started a business, and mashallah, his business grew and he became a successful businessman and business owner. And if you look at it, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, because of his trust, He made something bad happen to him, because the good that was coming to him will never happen. If he was staying at his job, he would have never thought of resigning. Never. Not in a million years. He was comfortable and happy and everything was going fine. But when Allah pushed him out, so He can give him something better. So always trust Allah in your darkest time, when things are bad. that it's gonna be better. I'm trusting Allah. He's not gonna let me down, and He will not let you down. Whatever Allah decides for you in this life, it's decided. The issue that you have in this life is a choice. Do you do the things halal or you do it haram? But whatever Allah has decided, it's coming. Whether you are going to be a millionaire or you're not going to be a millionaire, it's decided by Allah. Whether you are going to, have many children or not children, it's decided by Allah. But the issue always is, do you do things in a halal way or haram? That's your option. And that's what we live in this life to do. And that's what Allah is going to hold us accountable in the day after about our choices. What did we choose? Did we choose the halal or the haram? Sayyidina Ali radiallahu anhu, one day he was going to the masjid and he got off his camel and there was a person next to the masjid. He said, "Can you watch my camel?" He said, "Yes." So Sayyidina Ali went inside, prayed and finished his prayer, and then he took from his pocket 2 dirhams, 2 pieces of coins, 2 dirhams, and put them in his hand and came out for the guy. So he looked and the guy is gone. And he found his camel, but the guy took the rein of the camel. There is a rope that they put on the head of the camel so you can control it, make it turn left, right, stop. He stole it. The guy stole it and took off. So Sayyidina Ali went to the market to buy another one. And he found his. Somebody's selling it. So he bought it. He said, "How much do you want for it?" He said, "I want 2 dirhams." So he gave him the 2 dirhams. He said, Allah was sending him 2 dirhams, but he chose to take them from haram instead of taking them from halal. But they are still the 2 dirhams. Nothing more. So he just got a sin, and he got the 2 dirham that Allah decided for him in this life. And sometimes we as human beings, shaitan comes and attack us. And he starts to make you think, because I did the halal thing, look at what happened. You got into trouble. You got this happened to you. This happened to you. And he makes you start to doubt. If I did the haram, I would have been safe today. If I did the things that against what Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala said, it would have been better for me. I would have been safe. But there is a hadith for the Prophet alayhi salatu wasalam, and it's a long hadith, but a part of it says, seek help from Allah and do not lose heart, do not give up. And if anything, any trouble comes to you, don't say, if I had not done that, this would have not happened. But say, Allah has ordained, Allah has intended this and will do whatever He wishes. Surely if opens the gate for Satan's work. So Allah is saying, when you start to say if, that's when you start to doubt Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And this is the method of shaitan to break your relationship with Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. He starts to make you doubt. Oh, if I have done this, I would have been saved. Oh, if I've done that, I would have saved this. And don't do that. If you do the halal, and whatever the results, don't keep saying, if I did the haram, it would have been better. Never. That's shaitan trying to tell you those things. And that's why Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala in the Quran says, قُلْ لَنْ يُصِيبَنَا إِلَّا مَا كَتَبَ اللَّهُ لَنَا هُوَ مَوْلَانَا وَعَلَى اللَّهِ فَلْيَتَوَكَّلِ الْمُؤْمِنُونَ. Say nothing will happen to us except what Allah has decreed for us. Allah has decided for us. He is our protector. And on Allah, let the believers put their trust. So nothing is going to happen to you no matter what everybody try to do. Whatever is happening is Allah's decision. And one of the things that's very disturbing is some people, they say, I did everything I can. I did all of that. And the results that came out were not the good result, they were the bad results. A part of trusting Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is to accept the results. Accept the results. You don't know if those results that are happening are good for you or bad for you. You never know. Because we have limited knowledge. We have very limited knowledge, and you think that, this, because it's bad, it's not good for you. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says, وَعَسَىٰ أَن تَكْرَهُوا شَيْئًا وَهُوَ خَيْرٌ لَكُمْ وَعَسَىٰ أَن تُحِبُّوا شَيْئًا وَهُوَ شَرٌ لَكُمْ وَاللَّهُ يَعْلَمُ أَنْتُمْ لَا تَعْلَمُونَ. And it may be that you dislike a thing while it is good for you. And it may be that you love a thing while it is evil for you. And Allah knows while you do not know. A lot of time I've seen people, they say, I wanted this and it didn't happen. And I'm disappointed. And they are depressed. And they are not happy. You don't know if that's good or bad for you. You don't know. Some people, they decide, I wanted to marry such person. And I talked to her parents and they rejected me. And you're disappointed. You never know. She may be a wonderful woman and you may be a wonderful man. But the two together will not work. So never be disappointed. Same thing applies. Somebody applies for a job. And it happened before, I've seen it. People apply for a job and they would love to join that company. They are dying to join the company. And they join the company and there is a major layoff and they close the whole department. You don't know. So Allah may save you from something, may disappoint you, but it's not a disappointment. It's Allah is getting something ready for you. It's either the thing that Allah decided for you is not ready for you yet, or you are not ready for it yet. So sometimes Allah delay things, but your trust is what shows at that time. When Allah delays it, do you lose faith? And you start to say, oh, Allah is not helping me. Allah, doesn't want to do things for me. Or you are going to continue to have faith in Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. There is a limit to our knowledge as human beings. And a limit to what we can control. And people, they have to understand that no matter how much we know, somebody may tell you, I studied that company and it's the best company. And they are great. You may join the company, but the boss may be a mean guy, and you hate every day in this company because you have limited knowledge. You don't know. We have limited knowledge. Only Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala knows everything. And people, some people, when they don't trust Allah, when they don't get the things that they want, they become depressed. Some of them, they become suicidal. Because they don't trust Allah. If they trust Allah, they will never be like that. Yes, you can be sad, but you don't get depressed. You don't give up. You don't become suicidal because you trust Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says, فَإِذَا عَزَمْتَ فَتَوَكَّلْ عَلَى اللَّهِ إِنَّ اللَّهَ يُحِبُّ الْمُتَوَكِّلِينَ. Then when you have taken a decision, put your trust in Allah. Certainly Allah loves those who put their trust in Him. So when you trust Allah, you're getting another thing that you cannot think of. You're getting Allah to love you. Allah to love you. Allah loves the people who put their trust in Him. And I just want you to imagine, when a human being loves another human being, they do everything they can to please that person. So what if Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala loves you? What do you expect He's going to do for you? He's going to do miracles for you. You may not see the miracles, but He will. He will do miracles for you. There is a story that I don't know if I mentioned it before or not, but there was a person. He was an employee, just a small employee in a company. It's in a Muslim country. And that person is a religious person. He fears Allah, he obeys Allah. He tries as much as he can not to do anything haram. But he lives in a country where whenever there is trouble, they round up all the people who are Muslim who go to the masjid. Put them in jail and question them. There was a bomb, there was this, and there always investigation and all those kind of things. So one day he went home. And when he went home, his wife told him, our son, our only son, has a fever and he is unconscious. So he saw his son unconscious, very high fever. He asked his wife, do you have any money? No. He has no money in his pocket, nothing. So they are thinking what to do. All of a sudden, the door knocking very hard. Open the door, police. Grab him, take him to jail. And they take him to jail, and he's all the time in the jail screaming, my son is dying, my son is dying, he's gonna die, screaming. In the jail with him, there was a sheikh that seemed to be a good person. He came to him and he said 2 words, trust Allah. That man stopped screaming and all of that. He went to a corner and kept making dua to Allah. That's all he was doing, dua to Allah, dua to Allah. Then after that, at home, his wife's sitting there, doesn't know what to do. No money, her son is dying, and she cannot do anything. Then all of a sudden the door knocks. She opens the door. A nicely dressed person standing there, he said, I'm the doctor, what is the patient? She said, in the bedroom. He said, take me to the patient. She took the doctor to the boy. Looked at the boy, said, don't worry, I'm gonna take care of him. He gave him a couple of shots, and he said, he sat next to him for a couple of hours. The boy started to wake up, and the boy started to gain conscious. The doctor gave her a medication. He said, give him that medication, and in the morning he's gonna be back to normal. He's gonna be fine. And then he was walking out. On his way out, the wife was kind of embarrassed. What she's going to do? She's not going to pay him. So she asked him, how much do we owe you? So the doctor said, I already got my fees. I already got my fees. I've been already paid. So the wife looked at him kind of surprised. And then the doctor noticed that she's surprised. So he asked her, is this apartment 11? She said, no, this is apartment 12. Oh. Trust Allah. Trust Allah. Now that after I said that, do you believe really in your heart, do you trust Allah? Do you? Trust Allah. Do your part in everything in your life. Do everything you can. Make dua to Allah and accept the results. Don't be disappointed if the results are what you want or they don't happen. Don't be disappointed. Wallahi, Allah will never let you down. Never. Because Allah, if He promised, He delivers. He is the mighty. He has the power. And He's going to do the best for you in this life and in the hereafter, inshallah. Alhamdulillah, I'm done. If there is any questions, but don't ask me about the fire outside. I have no idea what's happening. It's always the first one that asks the question requires some courage. Okay.
I have a question.
Sure.
It's someone that really regret in their life, and then they don't want to do nothing. They just pray to Allah, and then they said, "Oh, Allah gonna give me something," but they don't want to do anything. What do you think about this person?
Then he's not a true believer. He's not a true believer, because Allah is everywhere. Anytime He mentioned iman, belief, He mentioned وَيَعْمَلُونَ الصَّالِحَاتِ, and do work, and work doing the good things. Always belief and work come together. So in Islam, Muslim has to work. Everyone that you look at Islam, everybody was working. Nobody is sitting and relaxing. A person came to the Prophet ﷺ, he said, I'm poor. I don't have anything. Can you help me? He said, do you own anything? He said, I have just, a spare clothes. He said, bring it. He brought the spare clothes. And he asked the companion, anybody would buy this? Finally, a person said, I'll pay 2 dirhams for it. So he took the 2 dirhams and he gave the man, he said, here is the 2 dirhams. Buy with 1 dirham some food for your family, and with the other dirham, go buy an axe and cut wood and sell it and make money. And in another story, the Prophet ﷺ, he saw a person sitting in the masjid. Every time he comes in the masjid, he's sitting there, praying, reading Quran, everything, all the time. So one day he came and asked him, he said, who is spending money on you? He said, my brother is working and spending money on me. He said, your brother has more iman than you. Because Allah created us not only to sit and do salah and do worship and read Quran and all of that. Allah created another creation for that called the angels. And they do it much better than us. Because they don't sin. But Allah created human beings so we can work, so we can improve things in this world, so we can spread the word of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And if every one of us doesn't work, how are you going to pay zakat? We're all sitting at home or sitting in the masjid, we're not doing anything. So how we're going to make money to pay zakat? And Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is not going to order us to do something that we cannot do. He's not going to say pay zakah and then stay in the masjid. No way. So no, a part of showing you're a true believer is to work and work the best you can. And even if you can work and make more than you need, then you're going to be providing charity to other Muslims. You're going to be helping your community. You're going to be a strength for the Muslim. Any other question? Okay.
How do we teach our children, the young, the teenagers, to trust Allah in a word or in a sentence that makes sense to their work?
A teenager normally they tend to be in that age where they trust their friends more than anybody, more than their parents, more than anything. But you will be amazed what I've noticed with my children. Most of the time you think they're not listening, but they are listening. It's amazing. They will not show you that they are listening because that's an indication that they listen to their parents, and that's a no. You don't listen to your parents. But keep enforcing in them, trust Allah. But the key thing, do your part. Always remind them, do your part and do everything. And if things don't work out or do work out, trust Allah. Whatever the results are going to be best. But you have to tell him, do your best in everything. So he doesn't come back to you and say, I studied a little bit and I trusted Allah and I got a D. Then you tell him, did you do your best? I'm not saying do the best. Because each one of us, your best is different than my best, than his best, than her best. Each one has their limits. So as long as he does his best and trust Allah, then inshallah Allah will guide him. And always reinforce that in him. So he understands that always there is something that will help him. Because a lot of time, that's one of the things that you see it in people who do not believe in Allah or believe in a creator. Those people, they tend, when there is a problem, they have nobody to blame except themselves. And I don't know if any of you remember when there was the stock market collapse in 1989, I think it was 89. Some people jumped from the building and died because they lost all their money. They lost all their money. They were, shorting some stocks and selling some margin and stuff like that. And then all of a sudden everything has to be due and they don't know what to do. Because they don't believe that there is Allah that's going to solve the things for them. He's going to help them. But you have to trust in Allah and you have to tell him that. Because he will feel always that if something doesn't happen, he has nobody to blame except himself. But you have to teach him that don't be depressed if things don't happen as long as you did your best. There is a reason for that, and Allah knows what's best. And by the same token, don't be too excited and so arrogant when things happen, thinking that you are the best in the world, because it's always Allah who decides.
Regarding talking about the stock, if you invest money, you put in stock like this, is this halal we eat? Because the stock up and down?
Most of the scholar, okay, the thing that in this time, there's so many new things, there is people that have different opinion. But most of the scholar that I've heard, they are saying stock is halal because the same way you can make money, you can lose money. Okay? And as long as it's something like that, then it's fine. So stock, it goes up, goes down. That's why, I personally have stock. But it's because you're not buying a lottery ticket. Stock is something that you invest in, you can win, you can make money, you can lose money. It's no different than a business. You start a business and you see a lot of businesses, they succeed, and a lot of business, they fail. There is no guarantee.
How about once time you put money, $100,000 in the bank, and then you have maybe, they put maybe for 6 months, maybe 3%, like that. What we did, halal money or what?
Some people say this is haram money, this is riba. And I've read a few things that say, no, this is halal. So I don't have an opinion on that. I don't give fatwas because there is different opinions. But some people say it's haram.
So that's why I'm not sure in Islam. Sometimes you put money increase, sometimes money looser like that is halal. Halal, you think, in stock?
Stock, yes, it's stock. And most of the people that I read for, they say stock is halal. Most of them.
But when you put like the money, invest money, what 3% like this, they call haram like that, you think?
That's what they say, because anytime they say you have a fixed amount, then it's haram. Stock, you may make a lot of money, you may lose a lot of money. But when you put it in a specific amount and you get a fixed amount every month, there is no fluctuation, there is no chance you're going to lose or make more. That's different.
Okay. Because in the bank, the money turn around after that, this maybe 6 months. The bank make money, and somebody borrow your money, they get money also. So we get also increase money in the money. So this means not sure 50% halal, 50% haram then, sir.
No, there is no 50% or 50%. It's either yes or no.
I'm confused about that.
Yeah, but the majority of the scholars say the CDs and stuff like that, and the saving account, the money is considered. They consider it like usury. They consider it not halal.
No halal.
Yeah.
So thank you so much.
But we always come out with 2.5% of zakat, from your whatever you make money, you increase your money and then automatically you take it out 2.5% of zakat. So this means your money okay then.
What do you mean?
Like once you say they increase the money, right? And then 3%, and then you take it out from that 3%, 2.5 for zakat.
Whether you pay zakat on it or not doesn't matter. Okay, it's exactly like, if I go and win the lottery, I win $100 million,
Yep.
and I pay the 2.5%, is it halal now?
Yeah.
It doesn't make it halal.
So it's mean not halal either, the lotto.
The whole lottery is not halal.
See? So if somebody win maybe $200,000 for sale like that, and then they get like this, I pay zakat 2.5%. Is it everything halal?
That would be wonderful, So, because if you take it, then there is no end. I go and steal a bank and get $100 million and pay 2.5%, and I'm okay. Astaghfirullah. Allah does not accept good things, halal things. Anything that's not halal, Allah does not accept it. Even if you put 2.5%, you won $100 million in the lottery and you paid $2.5 million to build a masjid, it's worth zero on the day of judgment. Zero. And still you're going to get the punishment.
Really?
Yeah, for the lottery.
Put it in stock. Put the stock is okay, huh?
Yeah, stock is fine. Yes.
Think about the lottery. If their school has some fundraising and they do raffles, like considered lottery or something else?
Raffles. Raffles is the same idea. Okay, what's that?
It's not monetary.
Stock monitors?
It's not monitored. It's not fixed like lottery is fixed.
No, but it's the same idea. But normally, when I go to school, and my kids when they were young, and they have a raffle and all of that, I give them the money, but I refuse to take anything. Because the whole idea is basically they're trying to help the school. So I give them the money, whatever the raffle is and all of that, because the kids, want you to participate, and they put pressure on the kids, so I help, but I don't accept anything. If I'm the winner, I say pass it on to somebody else.
You can give maybe to school, it's okay, right?
Excuse me?
You give to school maybe.
Yeah,
To return it to school.
yeah. But the whole idea is that stay away from those things. Yeah.
A question about the humility. You talk about the humility, right?
Yes.
Humility is the part of the Islamic manner. So
Yes.
we have to make a humility to the Muslim person. But you know what? Right now we need like something that we know that Muslim is become a success. So what do you opinion to make a difference like humility and become a success person? So sometimes success person we have to declare to everybody that we are success. We need it, right? Right, like that one, right? So
Okay.
yeah, you know, like this.
Muslims are encouraged to do everything they can to be the most successful person.
Yeah.
Everyone. And each one of us, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala gave us a role in this life. Because if Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala made us all billionaires, okay, then think about it. Who's gonna fix the toilet?
Exactly.
Who's gonna fix the car?
Who's gonna get the zakat?
Excuse me?
Who's gonna get the zakat money?
You got it. I'm ready. Who's gonna mow the lawn? So Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is giving each person a certain level. And in addition, each person, sometimes people are good when they have money. And some people are bad when they don't have money. And the opposite, some people are really bad when they have money. And some people are really good when they don't have money. The issue of humility is a character. The way you behave. The opposite of humility is arrogance. And arrogance is you look down on people. You think you're better than them. And that's a part of not trusting Allah. Because what Allah did is He trusted you and gave you more money. Not because you are smarter, not because you look nicer, not because He loves you and He hates the other person. No, it's a test, nothing more. So are you going to be humble and understand that this is just a test? It's not a sign of Allah's love for me? Because some people think, if Allah gave me a lot of money, a beautiful house, a nice car, I have a nice wife, I have good children, then definitely Allah loves me. Then definitely I'm better than everybody else. No. It's a test. How you're going to behave. So, yes, Allah wants you to be successful. And there is nothing wrong about being a very successful Muslim. But don't be arrogant. Don't sit like we're sitting here and all of a sudden you come in and say, you're talking to everybody and say, yesterday I bought a brand new car, $100,000 car, so everybody can hear you. That's arrogance. That's arrogance. But the key thing is that you are a humble person. And humble, like I'll give you an example of the Prophet ﷺ. A person, a Bedouin, he lives in the desert. So he came one day and he wanted to come to the Prophet ﷺ and declare that he became a Muslim. Say, Ashhadu an la ilaha illallah wa ashhadu Muhammadan Rasulullah. So he walked in the masjid. So the guy didn't want to ask anybody. So he stopped there at the door of the masjid and kept looking around. He said, I'm going to notice which one is the Prophet. He stood there for a while and he couldn't figure out which one is the Prophet. Finally, he had to ask somebody, which one is the prophet? Look at how humble is the prophet. He didn't sit, let me sit in the front, put some cushions under me so I can sit, and everybody stand in front of me and all. No, that's humble. And that's what Muslims supposed to be, humble. But not arrogant. But it doesn't mean humble is associated with failure. No. Humble has nothing to do with failure. Humble is whether you are a success or not a success. You're a humble person. So always you have to be humble. And yes, you have to try to be the most successful person. Some of the closest companion of the Prophet ﷺ were multi-millionaires. Multi-millionaires. But they were very humble. Abdul Rahman ibn Auf radiallahu anhu, he was one of the richest people. If you take his wealth compared to today, he's like Bill Gates times 10. When he died, he had so much wealth, they couldn't count the money. So they brought shovels and start to shovel the monies to sides so they can give it to the people who inherited him. They couldn't count them. But he was extremely humble. Sayyidina Uthman, he was very rich at one point when the Muslim army was going to war. He bought horses and camels and weapons for the whole army from his wealth. But he was extremely humble. So yes, you have to try to be the most successful, but don't be arrogant. Be humble. And humble means that people can approach you, can come and talk to you. They don't feel intimidated by you. Some people, when you see them, you want to stay away from them. But some people, you see them, they're smiling. They're telling you, come, approach me. That's what you should be as a Muslim. Okay?
You mentioned about Satan always come to us whispering to bring us to do a bad thing, right? So what can we do to increase our awareness of this Satan works in our bad, hard situation? So we will know that Satan telling me that we have to do bad things. So what should we do to increase that awareness? So every time we know this is not the words that come in our heart, it is from Satan. So we will be careful.
Okay. Shaitan, always Satan will come to you, and every Muslim, when Satan comes to you, he's trying, the Muslim knows what's right. Allah put in every Muslim's heart a compass that tells you this is right, this is wrong. It's in there. And every one of us, whether you admit it or you don't admit it, you know when you're doing something haram. You feel it. So Satan comes to you and try to convince you, because he knows inside here is telling you don't do it. So he comes and tries to convince you. Just do it this time, only one time, and you're never going to do it again. Just one time. And then you start to do it. So the first thing to do is, you know in your heart what's right. Then ask Allah to help you against shaitan. Say, A'udhu billahi minash shaitanir rajeem. And stop thinking about doing the haram. Try to think about something else. And try to remember that Allah is going to help you. He's testing you now with whatever difficulty you're in. But He's gonna help you, and He's going to change your condition.
But you mentioned that all Muslims will know in their heart that this is something bad, and I shouldn't have to done this. But sometimes we can see that they are Muslim, they are going to the halakah, but meanwhile they do something bad too. So, but because you mentioned that all the Muslims will always hurt something in their heart. What happened with that?
Most of the time, as a Muslim, you're gonna know. Like, for instance, you came to this halaqah. Okay, you could have gone to the movies. You have a choice. So you know in your heart what's best for you. But the key thing is that when shaitan attack you, he always attack you from the direction of what's right. He will never attack you from the direction of what's wrong. Like today, shaitan is everywhere around here, everywhere in this room. If you go to a bar, shaitan is not there. I guarantee you. He's not there. If I'm walking into the bar, already I did the work of shaitan. I don't need any help. And he doesn't need to help me. I'm one of his team. So always, you're going to find that when you're trying, shaitan is going to always attack you from the direction that you're doing the right things. That's the direction. If you're going to say, tomorrow I'm going to, inshallah, fast an extra day for Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Shaitan is going to come to you and say, oh, you know, tomorrow you cannot do it because you have to take the kids to here and to there and whatever and all of this. And you know, tomorrow you're going to be hungry. So don't do it tomorrow. Do it next week. All it's going to do is just make you push it one time. Shaitan is not trying to change you big direction. Shaitan always tries to make you change gradually, step by step. And then all of a sudden, instead of the person being, you know, obeying Allah and all of that, all of a sudden the person is going in a different direction completely. But it's step by step.
When you're really sick, like if you want to go pray and then like you want to do something, but you're busy with everything. Like example, like I have to stay in the ER for the whole night, and then I want to do this Fajr prayer, and then I couldn't because it's 3 o'clock is already like test this, test that, X-ray until 7 o'clock. So I think I miss the Fajr prayer. So what you can do to just lay down, like you don't have.
I'm explaining to you because she's going to so. She's right now in the ER in the hospital facility. You know, in the hospital, so many things you put in your body.
Sure.
And also, she's going to pray or Fajr. How she can do like that? She lay down in the bed, cannot move. How she do it without wudu, everything? What was supposed to do? Am I right?
Yeah.
That's what you're asking?
No, it's not about laying down. I miss the whole thing because all the medical things, happening. So I know that if I just have one moment, like 5 or 10 minutes with myself, I can do like, praying in the bed, but I can't, like. So
Are you a nurse or you're a patient?
I'm a patient.
Okay. And you are in your bed.
Yeah.
And you have
But
all those.
I'm not in bed all the time. I went to the X-ray place. I went to see a doctor and the clinical.
But you are in the hospital.
I am in the hospital.
And you are in the bed.
Yes.
And you're saying that the Fajr came.
Yeah.
Is that what you're saying? The prayer of Fajr came.
Yeah, the Fajr prayer.
And you're asking, what should I do to do the Salah?
Yeah.
Okay.
And I miss the Fajr.
Okay. One of the beauty of Islam that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala gave us permission to do certain things. So if you are sick or you're in a bed and you cannot get up or whatever, there is a reason. And this is between you and Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Okay? If you feel that you cannot, you can pray while you're still in the bed. If you cannot get up and do wudu, you can do dry ablution, dry wudu. And you can study in bed. As a matter of fact, in Islam, if the person is paralyzed, he can do prayer with his eyelids, close his eyes and open his eyes for ruku' and sujood. But it's between you and Allah. If you know that yes, you cannot get up to do the salah and all of that, Islam is an easy religion. It's not complicated. Allah is not asking us to do things that will harm us. Allah knows that yes, we may be sick, we may be having difficulty. So He's saying when you have that, you can do it in a different way. So yes, you can do it while sleeping in the bed. You can do the salah of the Fajr. If you can get up, do wudu, fine. If you cannot get up and do wudu because you have a lot of things hooked up to you, then you can do dry ablution while still in the bed and do the salah. So you can do it.
I just want to know what is the best answer to the people who not believe like God or atheist and ask us what is the God. So I just want your opinion, what is the best answer to the people who ask you?
Well, the best answer is you read Surah Al-Ikhlas, the chapter of Al-Ikhlas, قُلْ هُوَ اللَّهُ أَحَدٌ. That's the description of what God is. And you can tell them that. But I want to caution you, because there is a lot of people that really don't care about knowing God. They just want to debate, argue with you. And Allah is ordering us to walk away from people who just want to argue. That's an order from Allah. That don't waste your time. People who just want to argue. And I've seen many of those people. They really don't care about whatever you're going to say, they're going to say no. They're not asking to know the truth. So don't waste your energy with them. If they really want to know, and you feel sincere, like you have a best friend and she asking really and she means it, then you can read to her the translation of قُلْ هُوَ اللَّهُ أَحَدٌ. What does it say? Alaykum as-salam wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.
I have a lot of kids. Wherever I go, maybe when I meet American, they always say, "Oh, that's too much work. That's too much money to have a lot of kids." I trust Allah that every kid has their own recipe. But I know one hadith that don't leave a witness generation behind you. So how we combine that hadith with our trust, and does that mean when some people decide to stop having children? I'm not. I always want to have more. When people decide to stop having more kids, is that a part of not trust Allah?
That particular issue, there is a lot of controversy about it. There is some scholar that says planning children and all of that is halal, as long as there is no abortion involved. It's halal. So it's, in other words, like, they take pills and stuff like that they say it's halal. Some they are saying no, it's not halal. But I cannot give you an answer. But yes, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says that He sent every child with His rizq, with His provision, and Allah take care of all of them. But whether it's a lot of work or not a lot of work, Allah makes things easy. Allah makes things easy for every person. And the key thing is that trust Allah in whatever you do. Whatever you do, whatever decision, as long as you're doing something halal, don't worry. Allah is going to take care of you. But about children and whether you control birth or not control birth, as I said, there is different philosophies in that, and I cannot tell you which one is right or wrong. But there is, like, in several countries that I know, Muslim countries, they tell you birth control is fine, it's halal, as long as there is no abortion involved and stuff like that. Many Muslim countries do that. I don't know about Indonesia. What do they say?
We do.
Okay. Because in Egypt we do the same thing. They say if it's birth control, then it's fine. But abortion is haram. So the same.
And this is that. When we have a kid, we have children, you must responsibility, maybe you have 4 children, your responsibility for 4 children. You feed them, you go to school with them, they're close to them, everything. Well, for you have a lot of kids, you can afford it. That's not, again, got to start.
You're saying like
Responsibility.
If you have the energy to take care of children, one of the things that's important is you have a responsibility towards your children. And you have to do everything you can for the welfare of your children. So you have to decide how you're going to be able to manage your family.
Absolutely.
That's a key thing. And you have to see how you can maintain them, because some people, like, if you look at some countries, like in, some of the developing countries, they have like 12 children and all of them in the street. That's not the intent. the intent is that you do everything you can to take care of your child and give him a good living and good education and all of that. Whatever you can afford and whatever you can do, that's up to you. And it's different from one person to another.
Yep.
So there is no rule for everybody. Everyone is different. The mother health is an important factor. Some women are stronger than other women. That's Allah's decision. And their financial condition is another factor. Some people are, more comfortable financially than other people. That's Allah's decision. So there is so many factors that you have to look at it and then decide on your family. But the key thing is that you try to do the best for your children.
We live in America. Over here, people until 18 years, does the parent take care of the kid. For us, Islam, until they get married, we take care of our kid. What your opinion for that? Your view?
This is not Islam. This is culture.
Yes.
Okay, that we take care of our kids until they get married. This is culture, and it's most of the Muslim countries. Because in Islam, a boy or a girl, they are considered a mature person when they reach puberty.
Yep.
Once they reach puberty, then they are responsible. They're supposed to do things and all of that. But because here in America, we have, and as a matter of fact, in all the other Muslim countries, our children go to school, they have to go education, and they cannot do it on their own. So they need our help.
Yep.
So we continue to help them until they finish college and all of that. But there is nothing that says until they get married. It's not, has nothing to do, yes, you are responsible for them. And particularly for the girls.
Yep.
Because girls, they tend to stay with their parents and with their family. Boys, they tend to go out and go to another state, go to another place and work and have another job and all of that. But the key thing is that you need to give them support as much as you can. But you need to teach them to be responsible as well. Because sometimes we go overboard as Muslims and we teach our children to become not able to take responsibility. Because I go home, I'm 24 years old, I go home, mom take care of my clothes, dad take care of my food, he pays my license plates, he pays my everything. You need to make them to feel responsible. Yes, he can, save his money, but as well, he needs to take responsibility.
Thank you.
I've noticed that none of the brothers asked a question. So it seems that the brothers have a lot of Islamic knowledge. And share it with your wives and sisters and all of that. Come on. Because the wife is
responsible for all the kids.
okay. Mom, huh?
If we are an executive in an American company, and as part of that executive job is to do certain things that is questionable or haram in Islamic rule. For example, your group or your office usually has the beer party, that kind of thing.
Friday.
And you are, this is like the customs in the company, and you as an executive, you have to sign up the purchase order to buy a beer, or that is one example. The other example is that you have to basically congratulate your people on when they celebrate something, for example Christmas or Diwali or whatever their religious holiday, that some of the ulama say that we are not supposed to congratulate. So if you are an executive and you are facing the dilemma, what is it something that you can do because you cannot avoid it, or something that what is your opinion about it?
Okay, there is two things that you asked about. The first one about congratulating, or the second one about congratulating other people about their Eids and stuff like that. And I've read many scholars saying that you should not, and all of this. Personally, I'm of the opinion that yes, I do congratulate people about their Eid. I'm of that opinion, personally. Okay? Because I believe that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala wants us to spread the word of Islam. And if I'm a rude person, I'm not a kind person, nobody want to talk to me. Nobody want to talk to me. And I would congratulate them for their Christmas, or congratulate them for their Rosh Hashanah, or whatever things that they have. And that's how I get closer to them. That's how you change people's opinion about Muslims. Let's face it, today, the opinion of America about Muslims is horrible.
Exactly.
Horrible. All they know about Muslim is
ISIS.
chop their head. That's all they know about Muslim. They watch TV, everything is chop their head, cut their head. And somehow the media was successful in convincing people there is something, a monster called, like the Ebola, called Sharia. You ask any person what is Sharia, they have no clue. But oh, Sharia is bad. What is it? Do you know what is Sharia? No. So why is it bad? TV says it's bad, so it must be bad. So the key thing is we need to be approachable. If we as people we are going to build walls around ourselves, the Muslim community, then we're going to continue to be hated. How we are going to be able to reach to the other side? Remember, we are the minority. They are not the minority. And then look at the time of the Prophet ﷺ, at the time of Sayyidina Abu Bakr, at the time of Sayyidina Umar. Non-Muslims lived in a happy life with Muslims. Do you think they were harassing them? No. They were very kind to them. Sayyidina Muhammad ﷺ, he had, his neighbor was a Jewish woman. She used to every day go and bring thorns, and throw them in front of his house. So when he comes out, they would go in his feet and hurt him and all of that. And then one day he came out and there was no thorns. If I'm him, I'd say, Alhamdulillah. But he didn't. He went and asked, what happened? They said, the woman is sick. He went and visited her. He visited her. She became Muslim. That's how people are going to change. It's not by us saying, I'm not going to talk to you, I'm not going to do this. All we can say as Muslim is, no, 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 no. What is the yes? There is no yes. So as Muslim, yeah, we should be able to congratulate them. Say, happy whatever it is, your birthday. Yes, Muslims say don't celebrate birthday. That's fine. It's up to you. But if one is celebrating birthday and they brought a cake at the company and they're celebrating birthday of such and such, participate, be with them. As for the issue of alcohol, I would personally try to avoid being a part of signing things for alcohol, if I can. If you cannot and you are forced, like for instance, you are the person who has to sign all the checks for the company. Allah is giving permission for saying, فَمَنِ اضْطُرَّ غَيْرَ بَاغٍ أَوْ عَادٍ. Whoever is forced to do something. That's why he's saying, if you are in the desert and the only thing, and you're hungry, you're gonna die, the only thing in front of you is a pig, he's saying eat it. But eat enough to survive. So don't indulge yourself. Don't just say, I'm gonna eat the whole pig. Just enough to survive. So if you can't avoid it, do everything you can to avoid it. If you are forced, that's a different story.
Well, the only thing to avoid it is that you basically sign from one company, or don't become an executive, which theoretically you can do that. I mean, if it's not, if you, for example, if you trust Allah that Allah will give you the risk outside of this company, then you can also do that. So, okay, now what should you do in that case? If you stay in that position, of course you will be forced to do all of this stuff, but then you can also quit, or just become a regular, employee that will not have to deal with that.
If you cannot change the situation, then you remember, I don't know if you were here when we said the hadith of the Prophet, that the man came on a camel and he asked him, should I tie the camel and trust Allah, or should I leave it loose and trust Allah? And the Prophet ﷺ told him, tie the camel and trust Allah. If you cannot change it, then take steps to change jobs. But don't all of a sudden put yourself in jeopardy. Don't say, I'm resigning tomorrow. try to line up another job. It's easier to find another job while you're working than being out of work and looking for a job. So if your situation cannot be changed and you don't feel comfortable with what they're asking you to do, then in that case, I would try to start to look for something else and prepare myself. But by no means I'll put my family and myself in jeopardy by making a fast decision saying, I'm quitting today, and then you go out and say, I don't have another job. So I will do it, but tie the camel and trust Allah. So I will take all the steps to look for a new job if that's what you want, and then do it.
What if you just say like, I want to sign it, but I don't care what you buy with it, but to me, don't buy alcohol.
You cannot do that in a company. and particularly that most of the company, they have a Friday beer party. Every Friday after whatever, 3 o'clock, 4 o'clock, 5 o'clock. All the companies, they get drunk. So you cannot, and the whole idea is Muslim does not try to make things look better so you can feel comfortable. I know they're going to be buying alcohol with the check I'm signing and all of that, and I'm going to tell myself, oh no, I don't know what they're going to buy, it's none of my business. That's not the Muslim. Muslim face things and try to solve them. I think that's enough for today. Jazakumullah khair. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullah.
Yeah.